right now on 5 on Your Side at 10.
Tonight, rising property values, how you can appeal without spending a lot of money.
From wildfire smoke in the sky to a chilly change for the mornings this weekend. The Weather First team is tracking your weekend forecast.
But first tonight, Kim Gardner's future. The former circuit attorney says she will run for the office again.
Given the situation she's in, she could run, but I do not think she would be successful.
Plus, the latest on the Attorney General's lawsuit against her. Tonight, for the first time in 6 years, new but temporary leadership is in charge of the St. Louis Circuit Attorney's Office. Good evening, I'm Ann Allred.
And I'm Mike Bush. There are several new developments tonight and the problems plaguing the office and its former leader, Kim Gardner. Less than 24 hours after her abrupt departure, Gardner's name was removed from the walls outside the Circuit Attorney's office. That happened just moments after Governor Mike Parson and members of the Attorney General's office met with what remains of Gardner's staff. Also today, Attorney General Andrew Bailey dropped his legal battle to remove Gardner from office, and a judge dismissed indirect contempt charges against Gardner and a former assistant prosecutor for not showing up to a jury trial and a subsequent hearing. All of this has implications on the future of the office and what's next for Gardner.
Our Laura Barczewski is looking into that, and she joins us live outside the Carnahan Courthouse. Laura.
Mike and Ann, because all of those legal battles that Kim Gardner was fighting have been dropped or dismissed, it's possible she could technically run again in 2024. But our political analyst says it would be unlikely she'd be successful if she did. It's been a tumultuous 48 hours for the St. Louis Circuit Attorney's Office. In that time, Kim Gardner resigned and is no longer facing any legal battles.
And now, because she's resigned, the quo warranto seems to be moot. And so really there would be nothing legally that I see that would prevent her from running for office again.
There's also a new interim circuit attorney for the city of St. Louis, Evan Rodriguez, and alongside him, the Attorney General's staff, including Judge Bill Corrigan. But a permanent choice has not been made. All while an election for that seat is a little more than a year away. 5 on Your Side political analyst Anita Mannion says the drama could change how voters choose someone for the job.
If someone else steps in and the office starts functioning well for a year, I think a Kim Gardner run would really look bad, because it would signal to the citizens of St. Louis that this office can run well under the right leadership.
While Gardner's team was facing down judges trying to hold her in contempt of court and taking on the Attorney General's office, she spoke to her supporters and told them she would be running again in 2024. But since her abrupt resignation, she's been silent on the campaign front.
She has continued to have kind of her foundation of grassroots support, people still speaking out on her behalf today. But to run a successful campaign, you also need infrastructure, you need financing, and I'm not sure that she would have those things in place in 2024.
Mayor Tashard Jones says she wishes Gardner well in her future endeavors and gave no indication she would support her if she did try to take on the office again.
We've met with the governor, we've met with all of the, we've met with the judges and other people who are involved in the criminal justice system to offer our support to make sure that the transition is smooth as possible and that we can restore the reputation of the Circuit Attorney's Office.
Defense attorney David Miller and former Alderman Mike Gross have both expressed interest in running for St. Louis Circuit Attorney in 2024. They've also thrown their hat in the ring for the governor's appointment. We could find out about that appointment by Friday. Reporting live from downtown St. Louis, Laura Barczewski, 5 on Your Side.
Just before abruptly resigning, Gardner tried to turn things over to St. Louis County Prosecutor Wesley Bell. 5 on Your Side obtained the order Gardner gave to a judge yesterday, hoping to appoint Bell as the transition manager. She even issued a memo to her staff saying she had worked with Bell on the transition plan, but the judge never signed the order. Bell says Mayor Tashard Jones asked him to help out.
Just to help stabilize the office first and foremost, so that whomever was to come in could get just a little bit of a better handoff.
Bell says he's one of several prosecutors from surrounding jurisdictions who talked with the governor's transition team today about helping.
Tonight, we learned an 8th person has died from that massive pileup on I-55 caused by a blinding dust storm. 81-year-old Ruth Rao died from injuries she suffered in the May 1st incident. A rare dust storm caused several crashes on the interstate just south of Springfield, Illinois. Dozens of others were injured. Tonight, families in Limay are still cleaning up and packing up anything they can 3 days after heavy rain flooded their basements. Our Robert Townsend joins us live now from that neighborhood. Robert.
Hey there, Mike. You know, people who live on this street say flash flooding definitely lived up to its name. Tonight, they are still assessing all that damage. Wednesday afternoon, Constance Pesic stood in her now dry basement in Lime with mixed emotions.
There's still standing water in my furnace.
Sunday night, Pesic returned home to a stunning sight in her basement.
And all I had to do was open the door. I could see the water.
Chest-high water covered her steps, destroyed her appliances, clothes, and a lot more.
We have lost our entire HVAC system, our hot water heater, our washer, our dryer. We had a deep freeze full. We had a spare fridge down there full.
She and her family have lived in the 300 block of West Loretta Avenue for 15 years.
We knew it was going to rain. I didn't think it was going to be that bad.
Down the street,
I'm frustrated because, you know, it's costing a pretty penny to replace everything.
Tasha Blevins is also still stacking flood-ravaged furniture and lots of destroyed items in her driveway. Her cell phone video shows the rapid rushing water suddenly turned her basement into a river.
All the cleaning and sanitizing we have to do, it's out of pocket that we really don't have the extra money to do right now.
It is unacceptable. Something needs to be done.
A spokesman for Metropolitan Sewer District Project Clear says so far they are aware of 4 homes on the street impacted by the flash flooding.
One of them has been found to be the result of overland flooding, something that's not associated with the sewers. 2 of those, we don't have a final full investigation done yet.
Pesic is the first homeowner to receive $3,000 in flood assistance from the company. Still, she says she won't have peace until the water woes dry up.
We need help. You can't leave us like this.
MSD Project Clear says tomorrow its engineers will be out here checking out those problems. Now, the company says if you have any sewer issues, call their customer service line. Live in Lime, Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
Tonight, the U.S. Supreme Court declined to block a new assault weapons ban in Illinois, at least for now. The law bans assault-style guns and large-capacity magazines. Opponents want the law on hold while a lower court challenge continues. The high court denied their request, so for now, the law remains in effect.
Property assessment notices are going out, and some homeowners across the St. Louis area are seeing their property values rise.
They are up 10 to 20% in some neighborhoods. Michelle Lee explains how you can appeal your assessment without spending a lot of money in tonight's Making Ends Meet.
Jan Kapp has called this 3-bedroom, 2-story house in St. Louis home for 28 years.
Oh, I have tons of memories. My husband and I would throw a 4th of July party every year for all our friends and family, birthday parties, and just wild, crazy times with boys.
5 years ago, Jan noticed her property assessment going up, but didn't know how to appeal.
And then this year when I opened it up, I thought, no way it can go up again. And I opened it up, and sure enough, it's a couple $100 more, and I thought, oh no, this is not. So I was like, I'm appealing.
This year, the appraised value of Jan's home went up more than $26,000.
And I had applied for a mortgage loan on this house, so I had that appraisal, and I thought, I know it's $50,000 less than what they're appraising my house at on the assessment.
She started the informal appeals process with an email. Appraisals can cost several $100s. Realtor Holly Laws often helps homeowners who want to appeal.
I'll do a property valuation for you for free, which is where I look up the comps for you, and it's very easy for real estate agents.
City homeowners can gather their own information by visiting the St. Louis City Property Search website.
If you're in the county, you'd go to the county assessor's office. And in the city, you could only look them up by address, so you'd have to kind of know what houses have been for sale and see if they're the same size, same amenities, and what the cost was.
St. Louis assessor Michael Dauphin says his office welcomes appeals. He suggests starting with the basics, like bids for work that needs to be done on your home and pictures of problem areas. No camera, the assessor's office will send someone out to take those pictures for you, free of charge. The bottom line, appealing a property assessment doesn't have to cost a homeowner, but a little effort could save you money.
You can walk around and you can get on your phone and you can go to the city tax records and you can look up what other properties are paying for their taxes. I think that would be a first step for regular Joes like me.
So get this, Jan recently received news that the appraisal amount that she proposed has been accepted. So that is certainly good news, and it looks like everything's moving in the right direction for her. In the meantime, we know that city residents have until June 16th to make that informal request. By the way, if you want to know this process in St. Charles, St. Clair, or St. Louis counties, you can go to this story on ksdk.com. For Making Ends Meet, Michelle Lee, 5 on your side.
It's a mission still helping St. Louis families after more than 100 years.
That's what Annie Malone herself set out to do.
Tonight, the modern-day needs of a centuries-old organization and the big celebration everyone is invited to this weekend. Saving on your summer airfare. Does booking incognito help? Tonight, our Verified team looks into whether an online hack has wings.
There's only one chance before we get to the weekend to see some rain, but it's not anything like the rain we saw last weekend. Plus, an early look at Memorial Day weekend.
We're just 4 days away from the historic Annie Malone May Day Parade in downtown St. Louis. Ahead of the big event that will draw huge crowds, we're taking a closer look at the mission of the Annie Malone Children and Family Services.
As Brent Solomon explains, the organization has a long history of making lives better all across our region.
There probably isn't a person from St. Louis who hasn't heard of this.
Annie Malone, it's Annie Malone, like it's the May Day Parade.
Going strong for 113 years now, the annual parade gives eager crowds a reminder of the legacy behind its namesake.
Annie Malone was known for making hair care products. She became pretty wealthy doing so. And in the early 1900s, she opened up her first business near here, not far from the current Pear Tree Inn.
Her generosity paved the way for what we now know as the Annie Malone Children and Family Services Center here in the historic Ville neighborhood. What started as an orphanage for black children is still providing hope.
Day to day, Annie Malone is taking kids into the crisis center whose parents may have overdosed on drugs, been killed, and then also those that are just homeless and they don't want their kids to go into the system and lose them.
From parenting classes to teenage drug prevention, to simply being a resource.
We had kids coming to us with no shoes on their feet, and people will come up to this door and ask for food, or if they need to fax something and they don't have a fax at home, or, you know, simple things like that. And it's like, I can go over to Annie Malone. Yes, you can. Come on in. What do you need?
Far too many children that we've buried of this community possibly could still be alive had they had the resources of Annie Malone.
It's why it continues to be a cornerstone in the community, continuing a legacy that began in 1888.
And it's still standing.
And that's worth a celebration. Brent Solomon, 5 on your side.
And Saturday night at 10, Brent's going to delve deeper into some of Annie Malone's programs and how people in our area are not only benefiting from those services, but how others are giving back to keep this mission alive. The 113th Annie Malone May Day Parade will march down Market Street this Sunday, starting at 1. If you can't make it down, we're going to stream it live on 5+, which is free on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV.
Tonight, we are 1 week away from the kickoff to the summer travel season. This Memorial Day weekend is expected to be the busiest for air travel in 18 years. The FAA says Thursday, May 25th will be the busiest day at the airport. The number of passengers is expected to jump 11% from last year. The good news, domestic airfares are expected to be cheaper than last summer, but they're still going to be costly. Tonight, our Verified team is looking into claims using a certain feature on your browser when buying tickets online can save you money on your next flight. Brandon Lewis put that claim to the test.
Cookies track what you do across the internet. Some social media posts and headlines claim airlines are using cookies to see how often you search for a flight and then raise the prices based on your interest. Instead, they recommend using incognito mode, which clears your cookies and browsing history when you close the window. This, in theory, would prevent the airlines from raising fares. Verify viewer Angie reached out to ask if that's true. So Angie, let's verify. Will searching in incognito mode help you find lower flight prices? Our sources are travel deal websites Going and Thrifty Traveler, and an independent search of airfares. Going staff search daily for deals and then notify subscribers. The company says it wouldn't exist or would have a harder time finding deals if the claim was true. As proof, Going posted a video searching the same flight 100 times in a row using Google Flights and American Airlines website, and the price remained the same. Verify tried repeatedly searching for a flight using a regular browser and found no change in airfares on United's website, Priceline, and Google Flights. We then repeated the search using incognito mode and found the same $139 airfare. Airlines typically don't discuss how they price tickets, but Hawaiian told the Washington Post that a customer's individual actions, like using incognito mode, doesn't change the price of a ticket. So, no, searching in incognito mode won't help you find lower flight prices. So, why might the price change from 1 minute to the next? Hawaiian said generally prices go up as more tickets are sold, the departure date gets closer, or in response to a competitor's price. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
What can we verify for you? Send an email. The email address, verify@kstk.com.
Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell joins us now with that Weather First forecast, talking about wildfires in Canada and how they're really affecting us.
Yeah, you know, Mike, we did not see, it was a bright sunny day in St. Louis, but we did not see that bright blue sky today, and it was because of this. This is your late afternoon visible satellite picture. That is all wildfire smoke just kind of drifting down here. The fires are up into central and northwestern portions of Canada, so much farther to the west, but all that smoke's just wandering around. It's in the upper levels of the atmosphere, so it's not something that's going to cause us breathing problems, but it is keeping us from seeing much of a blue sky, also giving us some vibrant sunsets across the area. The forecast as we head through the next couple of days showing that that is still going to be in our atmosphere here. We have a front coming in on Friday, and as it comes in, it may actually try to mix some of that down to where you might be able to smell it. We've seen that happen in southern portions of Alberta where the winds have actually mixed that smoke back down to the ground, and it smells like a campfire up there. But those are over 1 million acres burned. Dry weather, big problems up in Canada. Meanwhile, we have a few clouds that are still lingering, but most of them have now dissipated as this front kind of sauntered just to the west and south of St. Louis. It's fizzling out on us, and it's not going to amount to anything. Not even able to kick off a shower this afternoon. 72 is where we are right now. We did squeak out an 83-degree high temperature today in St. Louis. We did that despite the fact that the sunshine was not as bright as it otherwise would have been. Temperatures tonight in the outlying areas, 50s, closer to 60 in town. We're starting tomorrow with very pleasant conditions. Expect a mostly sunny sky. Could there be a little bit of patchy fog early tomorrow morning again in some of the River Valley shore? Doesn't look like it would be quite as widespread as what we saw today. The focus for showers and storms tomorrow still to our west. We're waiting on a front to come in from the west. This one's going to bring some changes for the weekend. A big time cool down's on the way. Ahead of that front on Friday, we should be dry in the morning. By midday into the afternoon, rain chances will be increasing. The front slides through during the afternoon, early evening. There might be a downpour or two, especially south of St. Louis, but it's not anything like what we saw last week. And we're not expecting this to be an all-day rain either. Most of us are going to get by with less than 1/4 of an inch of rain out of this system. And once it leaves, the humidity levels are dropping off. Not going to guarantee that we'll get rid of that high-level smoke, but it is going to be a cooler weekend for sure. Temperatures early on Saturday morning and again early on Sunday morning in some of the coolest spots could be down into the 40s. Afternoon highs will be back into the 70s, close to 80 by Sunday. Next week, we begin a warming trend. Temperatures as we head towards Memorial Day weekend start to get back into the upper 80s, close to 90 degrees. We're looking at more traditional summertime weather, it looks like, as we head towards Memorial Day.
All right, Scott, thank you. Frank's here to tell us what's coming up.
And the Cardinals have found a pitcher, and Paul DeJong has rediscovered that swing. Stick around, we have a lot going on tonight.
The Sports Desk is sponsored by Jim Butler Chevrolet, the Midwest's #1 Chevy dealer 10 years running.
The Cardinals need a young starting pitcher who can throw hard, who has some poise, and can pitch here for the next 5 years. And this is only just one start this year, but Matthew Libator fits that description like a glove. Facing the Brewers, 23 years old, and the first hitter tonight, Owen Miller. This is nasty heat on the corner, 96. Go sit down. You think he was jacked up? Willie Adames was next. Here's 98. Try to catch up to that. 5 scoreless innings, 6 strikeouts. Now, we normally show you a Nolan Arenado home run at this point, but you'll have to settle for the 1,000th RBI of his career, an infield hit that scores Paul Goldschmidt. In the third, the childhood friend, Nolan Gorman, makes the best play of his Major League career. I got your back, Matthew. And the great story of redemption continued in the 6th. Paul DeYoung with a 2-run homer to dead center field, 3-0 cards, his OPS 917. Ryan Helsley in the bullpen. How about this? They were spotless tonight, and the Cardinals win their 3rd straight series, the final 3-0.
Kind of I come up with my approach based on each guy now, and you know it's about I made some adjustments in my last at bat there. I thought I was late and kind of uphill swing. That's really tough against a guy that's throwing those down and away cutters. So you know I started a little bit earlier, just tried to get the ball more out front, and yeah, just got something middle and got enough barrel on it.
Congrats to Oscar Mercado. He was drafted by the Cardinals in 2013. He labored in the organization for a long time, got to the majors with the Phillies and Guardians. He signed with the Cardinals in the offseason, played well in Memphis this year, and was promoted today. His mom and dad, though, won't be in to see him this weekend, though.
Mom and Dad are in Philadelphia, heading to Philadelphia for my sister's dental school graduation.
So she pulls rank, huh?
I was like, that's more important. You guys go there.
Major League game, dental school.
Yeah. So maybe not this weekend, but the one after.
Nice young man. Hey, it was Illini night at Busch Stadium. Belleville West grad Keith Randolph threw out the first pitch, and it has been a good time to be an Illinois football fan. They have high expectations heading into this season, and just had their best NFL draft in a long time with 4 players selected, and the local kid Randolph knows his time is coming too.
I'm just so proud of those guys, and like those guys went through the same steps that I'm going through right now. So just to know that I'm up next, it's really exciting. Taking it day by day, play by play. You know, whenever the time is right, you know, the Lord will make it happen. So.
You know what's crazy about this Jason Tatum story of stardom? Highest scoring Game 7 of all time, 51 points. You remember that. Well, he's only 25 years old. Scott Connell told me tonight he has ties older than that. Tatum was pretty good against Miami, 30 points, 9 of 17 shooting. The problem is he's facing the Miami Heat and Jimmy Butler, who has as much heart as anybody in the league. Butler blew it up, 35, 5, and 7. Miami steals Game 1, 123-116.
This 5 on Your Side St. Louis City SC coverage is sponsored by Together Credit Union.
This week on the City SC calendar means a bit more. It's the first chapter of a rivalry that could develop into one of the best in the MLS. Kansas City versus St. Louis, and there's a battle behind the scenes as well. Have you seen these billboards around town? They're up to welcome folks coming up from Kansas City to remind them of something. St. Louis is the country's first soccer city. We've always had the history, and now we have the MLS team to top it all off. Checkmate, KC.
And there's the back and forth. No, you're not the soccer capital. Yes, we are. We were the first soccer capital. Now, for years, Kansas City was ahead of St. Louis because they had an MLS venue. You have to be in Major League Soccer. You have to be in MLS to be considered a serious contender for soccer capital of the United States. Let's face it.
And remember this, Kansas City is near the bottom of the standings and City SC near the top. And we have a college in town, St. Louis U, who won 10 national championships. I don't think like Rockhurst or UMKC has won that many national titles.
It's going to be a good rivalry going forward. Frank, thanks.
Just in time for the grilling season, a new brew is hitting the market, but this one is for the birds.
And a reminder, the Folds of Honor campaign is now underway. You can round up at the register at any era Schnucks store through May 30th. Money raised provides scholarships for spouses and children of fallen or wounded service members and first responders. 5 on Your Side is a proud partner of the campaign. Use it or lose it. That's the message Google has tonight for its users. The company says it will start deleting accounts that have been inactive for at least 2 years. Google won't start deleting accounts until December.
Purdue is branching out of poultry and taking a sip out of the brewing business. The company has come up with beer can chicken beer. It's actually used for the popular grilling technique. But we're told it's also drinkable, and it does not taste like chicken. It has hints of rosemary and thyme.
Well, an unusual pursuit this morning for St. Louis County Police. Officers captured a llama after a brief foot pursuit in North County. This happened in the area of Lusher and Parker. Then, after posing for this picture with officers, the llama was turned back over to its owner.
Friendly guy.
And there you have it. 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next.
Start your day with Today in St. Louis beginning at 4 a.m. Thank you for being with us, and have a great tomorrow.